Hey everybody, we're coming to you with our final session. Apologies for earlier when I did not turn the right screen on to Danielle. You'll note that each subsequent video has been everybody in the same shot. So we're trying to overcome that. But this last session is going to be about how we can get independent creators in touch with attorneys and lawyers who can help them not only with contracts, but with all the other sorts of legal work that they might be facing. There are a lot of great resources out there, so it's kind of like hard to understand which ones might be the best for you. What this is meant to be is kind of like a little bit of a framework for how to get in touch with those. And one critical piece to this whole thing is if you don't have very much money, there are a bundle of resources available to you through clinics like the one Danielle runs at UMKC. So if you could tell us a little bit about that and kind of like what role you guys play in the community, how you qualify for that role, and what you guys can do.
Yep. So I run the Entrepreneurial Legal Services and Intellectual Property Clinic at UMKC School of Law. I'm also the executive director of the Kansas City Volunteer of Lawyers and Accountants for the Arts. So I work exclusively with entrepreneurs and creative types. The clinics and the KCVLA are both what we would call low-income clinics, which means that we are looking for individuals who are meeting certain income guidelines in order to get free legal services. However, we are willing to have a conversation with anyone, even if they are above those income guidelines, and those conversations are still free, and we can provide you information at a high level and sometimes direct you to other resources where you may be able to get free or low-cost legal services as well. The types of services that we provide are anything from entity formation, like if you need to form a limited liability company or a nonprofit corporation, or you need to form a joint venture with someone. We do contracts, whether that's licensing agreements, non-disclosure agreements, independent contractor agreements, things of that nature. We also do copyright registration and copyright analysis, as well as trademark analysis and trademark registration. To qualify for our clinics, if you're going through the clinics at the law school, an individual with no other people in their household needs to make roughly $56,000-ish or less a year if you're in the Kansas City metro area. And for the Kansas City Volunteer Lawyers and Accountants for the Arts, you need to make roughly $29,000 a year or less. And we verify that through income tax returns through our application. Both of them have an application process. As you can imagine, the demand for free legal services is kind of high. So the first step is always to apply. The application for both of them are available on our websites. You can apply through the websites, and those are the ways that you can get onto our lists. We see clients most of the year, and we have an initial meeting with you that's usually between an hour to 2 hours. And at the conclusion of that meeting, we will tell you what kind of services we can provide for you. We see roughly probably 100 to 125 clients per semester, and we engage probably about 40 to 50 of those clients per semester as well. So in the course of a year, we're probably seeing and engaging somewhere between 200 and 400 clients.
That's awesome. And I know that for a lot of those, there are a lot of people that don't qualify for that kind of like income threshold, or maybe they've got something that's a lot more time sensitive that they need addressed very quickly. And what's encouraging is that over the last few years, we've seen kind of a trend towards unbundling legal services and kind of breaking them out into their disparate components so that they can be more affordable. They'll have a much more limited scope, so you'll know what you're paying for. So you're not just going to be stuck at some billable rate for an indeterminate amount of time, which for people who are kind of operating in the space, we know is a big issue that they face. And Chris, you're doing a lot of interesting work there. Could you tell us a little bit about what that is and kind of like the general trends that you're seeing as a lawyer who's helping these creative workers on a day-to-day basis?
Yeah, so I started my law firm about 5 years ago. It's called Venture Legal, and I have another company called Contract Canvas. And most of my work is with creative people, service providers, whether they're website developers or musicians or whatever. And I do a lot of the same stuff that the clinics that Danielle was talking about. I don't necessarily do it for free, but the same types of services. And so what I've seen is that more and more firms, especially small firms, are starting to operate more like businesses and less like a traditional law firm model. And that's really what I've done with my firm, is I've set it up to be a business and not so much a law firm. And what I mean by that is I have products that I sell. So I have templates on my website where you go to the website. If you need an independent contractor agreement, for example, it's a few $100s. You go onto the website, download the template, and it's a format that you can just fill in the blanks, and it's in a Word document so you can make changes, and it has comments and so on. The idea is trying to make it as easy as possible for you to get a reliable document that you can use in your business. I have another business called Contract Canvas that I mentioned. We talked about that in a different video, but that's a subscription model where you go pay a monthly fee or a per contract fee, and you can make a contract on our website and sign it right through the website as well, and it's directed towards creative freelancers. So those are just different models. And then from there, if you need additional help, like one-on-one legal help where you actually need to hire a lawyer, such as myself, I use fixed fees, and I have fixed fees on my website. So if you need a LLC formation, like a single member LLC or a multi-member LLC, you can go to the website, see what the fixed fee is, and in most situations, that fixed fee is going to apply to you, unless you have some strange formation issue. And things like drafting a trademark application, analyzing a trademark, doing independent contractor agreements, all of those things that I do on a pretty regular basis, I have fixed fees for. And 80 or 90% of the time, the fixed fee that's on my site is good and it works for whatever you need. So the idea is just to make it easier for you to come in the door, know what you're paying, know what you're getting. So it's not quite as scary. It's not as scary as working with a traditional law firm. It doesn't require a retainer. Usually it's not an hourly thing. It's just trying to make it easier for people that are, average income to be able to engage a lawyer.
Yeah, and I think what's exciting about this whole trend is that it's not necessarily taking work away from those lawyers who are charging these billable rates, because those people are still going to pay those rates to those law firms. It's opening up the legal market to more people and enabling lawyers to make more money off the green space that's open to them, not that space that they're necessarily fighting over. So I'm hoping what we're going to be able to see with this kind of use of technology as a way to understand exactly what the market looks like for attorneys, especially those attorneys who are providing the types of services that we've discussed, is that people will be able to see and compete with others in a way that gives everybody a little bit more of the pie that previously hadn't even been sliced. And so a lot of this is really exciting. It's really fun. We want to thank everybody for listening to these videos and for getting involved with the Open Media Legal Hack. All of this stuff's going to be published on our website, and we will have links to everything that we've talked about there. Want to thank Chris and Danielle for participating. Want to thank Evan as well, but he already left. This has been great, and I'm hoping this will be a tremendous resource for everybody in the Kansas City community who is a creative type and needs help with some sort of legal thing as in that ecosystem. So thanks again to everybody.
Thanks, Brian.
Yeah.